Now, the International Criminal Court's chief prosecutor, Karim Khan, has announced he is seeking arrest warrants against senior Taliban leaders in Afghanistan over the persecution of women. Since the Afghan Taliban took control of Kabul in 2021, they've issued dozens of decrees that restrict women from public life and education. ICC Chief Khan has said that Afghan women and girls, as well as the LGBTQ community, were, quote, facing an unprecedented, unconscionable and ongoing persecution by the Taliban. So let's have a listen to what the ICC chief said earlier today.
My office submits that there are reasonable grounds to believe that the supreme leader of the Taliban, Hibatullah Akhundzada, and the Chief Justice of the so-called Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan, Abdul Hakim Haqqani, bear criminal responsibility for the crime against humanity of persecution. My office has concluded that these two Afghan nationals are criminally responsible for persecuting Afghan girls and women, as well as persons whom the Taliban perceived are not conforming with their ideological expectations of gender identity or expression.
All right, well, for more on this, let's speak now to DW reporter Beanish Javid, who's here in studio with me. Beanish, great to see you as always. So could you explain this ICC announcement a little bit more? Break it down for us.
Pablo, so ICC chief prosecutor has said that there is an unprecedented persecution of Afghan women and girls under the Taliban rule. And he's also said that Afghan Taliban are crushing any opposition, any voices that speak up against them. For example, the ICC chief prosecutor has said that they are using crimes such as murder, imprisonment, torture, rape and sexual violence, enforced disappearances, and ICC chief prosecutor says that they have enough evidence on the basis of which they have requested arrest warrants against the Afghan Taliban leadership. The Chief Justice and also the Supreme Leader of the Afghan Taliban. And we know that there's a panel of judges that basically issues ICC arrest warrants. What experts are saying that because Afghan Taliban have been so public with their edicts and these decrees against women, that it may be possible that these arrest warrants may be issued much earlier than in the normal cases.
We're talking about serious crimes there, Beanish, and quite an extensive list as well. Remind us of the realities of life for women under the Taliban in Afghanistan.
So we often hear this in news, but it's difficult to understand what it's like to be a woman in Afghanistan. Imagine that you are barred from complete public life. So you can't go to gym, you can't go to a park, you can't go to a beauty salon. Beauty salons have completely been banned. They've all been closed, and even the beauty salons were only for women. And so much so that now even a window through which a woman can be seen doing her household chores. Afghan Taliban have also said that even those windows have been blocked. But Pablo, the most devastating is that Afghan women cannot have access to education. So if you're in Afghanistan and if you're a girl above the age of 12, you can't go to school, you can't go to college, you can't go to universities, and it's been 3 years. Imagine a girl in Afghanistan has not been to a classroom in last 3 years. If you were becoming a doctor, if you were becoming a professional and you were studying in a university and you were very close to getting that degree, now that dream has almost been killed for many Afghan women.
Yeah, it's truly devastating to hear it again. And like you said, we hear this a lot, but it really is tough.
It's the only country in the world where this is happening.
Well, tell us, what is the world doing to pressure the Taliban to change course?
So, Pablo, if you will ask Afghan women activists, and there are also men activists in Afghanistan who are speaking up for Afghan women, if you ask them, they are not happy. They're not satisfied with how the world has been dealing with the Afghan Taliban.
Right.
So, for example, UN has been negotiating with the Afghan Taliban because UN has this policy. They say that we have to engage with them to convince them to become more flexible when it comes to women's rights.
Right.
And at the cost of women's voices, they have been engaging with Afghan. There are regional powers, for example, Russia, China, India, who are working with the Afghan Taliban. But in Afghanistan, people are expecting the international community to do something. We have some boxes when actually they have expectation from the US president, what Afghans are expecting from the new US president. Let's have a listen to those boxes.
Now that Trump has been elected, I'm happy. And I hope that sooner or later he will be able to help Afghanistan to reopen schools for all girls and provide facilities for all girls as well.
I believe that there could be a general change for girls' education and that there could be opportunities for them, because we all need them. Women don't represent half of society, but society as a whole. So if there is a general change in women's education, it will be extraordinary.
So, Beanish, the ICC's announcement is a step in the right direction, right?
It's a step in the right direction. Afghan Taliban, women rights activists say Afghan Taliban have to be held accountable. The international community must play a role. Remember that it was an agreement that was signed between the US and the Afghan Taliban, and Doha Agreement, when Afghan Taliban took control of Afghanistan. And big promise was that Afghanistan should have an inclusive government that represent every sector of the society, and that is what is missing. And the international community, and there are tools now that we see that the international community can use to ensure that Afghan Taliban are held accountable.
Beanish, great to have you in the studio, great to highlight this story, and of course we'll be keeping an eye on the situation there. Beanish Javid, DW reporter, thanks.